Patriot Radio News Hour. Joe and Jason here on this Wednesday. And after yesterday, the tariff wars kind of heated up, and then maybe they died down, and now they're heated up again. We got all kinds of things to talk about. Yesterday we really were inundated with a lot of weakness outside when you filtered out the noise of tariffs. Pretty much across the board, a lot of weakness coming from companies, whether it was retail, travel, that's your leisure, and even into the tech, right? And that's when the one, bright spot when we looked at those things. But today, we had inflation data out. Now, remember, and we said this last month. We told you, hey, we're going to get a couple of good months because going for the year-over-year numbers, we had a couple more big numbers falling off. So we should get good inflation data, good-ish inflation data this month. So this report that we're going to talk about, and for the next couple of months. But then it goes the other way, and we had some really low inflation numbers that are going to really make things difficult. But we'll get through all of those things, plus retaliatory tariffs today coming out from the EU, from Canada, as the original. I know it's complicated. The original 25% steel and aluminum tariffs go into effect. They went into effect overnight. We'll get to that. Here's the good news from yesterday. Pretend like it didn't happen. Canada's not going to hit us with a 25% tariff on the electricity. And again, it only affected 3 states, and it wasn't 2 of the 3 states. It was very insignificant. But one of the states was New York, which was the most significant one. They put that on hold, and Trump said, no, I won't do the extra 25% on the steel and aluminum, which would have made it 50% for Canada. Everybody is kind of on the same playing field. But news, Jason, breaking, Bank of America is saying that and it was weird, all of what they say the building suppliers, okay, so these are going to be the plumbers, the refrigeration companies, the flooring supplies, right, the electricians, right, they're saying everything that goes into building something, all of them are telling us they are raising prices and effective immediately. Bank of America went as far as to say, hey, some of them raised prices as soon as it was announced, but pretty much everybody that they deal with that is, and it was interesting how they labeled it, but it was the building material manufacturers, without exception, saying that they are either already raised prices or are now raising prices. And then Boeing came out and said, hey, this is going to add millions of dollars to the cost of an airplane. Ready for this? Now, I know airplanes are expensive. Okay, I don't pretend to know exactly how much an airplane is, but hundreds of millions of dollars. A Boeing 787, they say the price is going to go up by $40 million, according to the Boeing. I want to make sure, was it Boeing? Yeah, no. AER Cap CEO, who I guess they're the ones that lease these airplanes. So when companies or countries buy large amounts of planes, there's usually a lease agreement. They are the ones that do it. They're the largest aircraft leasing company in the world. They're saying that Boeing is letting them know that is going to add $40 million to the price of a 787. And then he followed it up with some pretty strong word. Nobody's going to want to pay that, Jason. So, again, this is the part that gets hard, isn't it? This is the part that makes life difficult. Wall Street, which has been really having a tough go of it. I thought today we could get some positivity because the inflation number was decent. And like I said, after the break, we'll get to that. Unfortunately, Jason, after Bank of America came out, Boeing came out, it's gone the other way again. Wall Street's down almost 400 points again this morning.
Makes you wonder if we're going to push below 40 grand on the Dow here pretty soon, because it's once it pushed past that 42 level, it looks like it's got room to run down now, Joe. We'll
right now 41,069, 41,069. So we're 69 points away from 40,000 and change. So there's not a. We'll watch. The S&P is struggling as well. But like I said, the headline CPI 2.8%. Well, I guess that's, not 3%, right? So at least a little bit of good news. But we got that and so much more. And the big story of the day, are we going to be able to pay for it? I've got my mic turned on. I'm ready to go. 800-951-0592. Remember, allamericangold.com is the website. We got our shopping cart up there. We're right in the middle of our metals plans. Those are going out. If you haven't joined into that, what do you do? What do you guys do? You know what? I'm going to tell you right now. I hope you guys start running to the phone. I hope you figure it out. See, here's the thing. Jason and I, we put a lot of work into this. We're pretty good at it. And I'm going to tell you right now, this is going to be a very difficult situation that we're in. The amount of debt is overwhelming. By the way, the House passed this continuing resolution as we talked. Some of you are following. It's at the Senate right now. Already one Republican senator's a no. Now, it's a little different than the House and the Senate. The House, you just needed the majority. The Senate, We needed 7 Democrats to vote for this. Now we need 8. The government runs out of money on Friday, so I hope, please get something done. But I don't know that we will. We'll have to wait and see. Keep that in mind. I just want you to keep that in mind, because what we're going to talk about next is really what you're going to want to pay attention to. Okay, so focus. Right now, let's look at the markets. The Dow's down 365 points, right? 41,068 right now. How soon, here's my only question. How soon are we below 40? I hope we stay above 30. That's where I hope right now. Honestly. That's not to scare you. Telling you. Go back and listen to our shows at the end of last year. We said, listen, the top is either in now or the first quarter of 2025. That's going to be the top. And then look out. The S&P also negative. The NASDAQ right now up. The only bright spot, but it's not up very much, up like 60 points. The 10-year note. We got down to like 415 yesterday. We had a terrible 3-year auction. And remember, the auctions are light right now because we're on emergency measures, whatever the hell that means. 430. 430. And there's a reason why. Big warning coming from Ray Dalio, along with the CEO of Salesforce. Crude oil's up $1. Most of that, with tariffs and things related. Gold is on the move here, up $11, $29.27 on gold. Silver over 33. Here we go. It's been a big number. 33.06. I will just tell you, lease rates for gold, primarily out of London, have exploded higher again overnight. What does that mean? Really simply means, hey, there's not enough silver to meet deliveries, so we're going to charge you a ton if you want to lease this gold, and just look out here. Be careful here. Silver could be, we've been waiting for silver to make this move, we may be right on the precipice of it as more silver just continues to fly out of the London markets. We've talked a ton about what gold's been doing in London, but silver is now reaching these levels where, once again, we're having lease rates explode, delivery times are exploding, so we'll wait and see about the price. Get diversified. Listen, if you haven't bought gold and silver before, do it now. I know, but you're like, but Joe, it's almost $3,000. Yeah. Better than $5,000. Better than $10,000. If you've been buying, think about, Y2K, we had some buying, and then it kind of fizzled out, right? Then we had 9/11, right? Got buying. Then, you had the tech bubble blow up, had some more buying. Then the financial crisis happened. The financial crisis changed everything. Gold went from, hey, it's just the tinfoil whack jobs that bought it, to, I got to pay attention now. Everywhere I go, when people ask, hey, what do you do? And I tell them what I do. Man, yeah, they want to talk. They want to know all about it. When I first started here over 21 years ago, you know what you would say, why are you doing that? Right? We need gold. Why would you do that? Right? That's what they said. They ain't saying it now. Let me tell you right now, nobody's saying it.
When you say gold now, people, that perks them up. It's like, oh, you're in gold?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like, yeah, I'm in gold. And they say this. Joe's talking about, get used to 2,900 gold. It's better to buy it than 5,000. Gold is never going to be more expensive. So Joe's talking 2008. An average cost for an ounce of gold was $800. And that's how much a cow costs. It's essentially the same. Sometimes the cow goes up a little bit more. Sometimes gold goes up a little bit more. But the ounce of gold in the cow, hundreds of years. So it's never going to get more expensive. It's just going to cause you to have to bring more dollars. And while you're married to your dollars in your bank account, you're having a nice relationship, forever do not part, you're having less ability of your dollars to buy cows. You have to buy a cow. An ounce of gold is a cow. Get it together and get your cows. Get as many cows as you get. Get a whole herd, because the cattle ranchers that have the herds, they're the cattle baron. You want to be a cattle baron. How many ounces of gold can you get? How quickly can you accumulate? Because you don't want to be having to store dollars and more dollars and more dollars and more dollars. The cow and the ounce of gold isn't doing anything. Gold isn't more expensive at $2,900. It's just not. The world has gotten more expensive, and you are in the wrong place with dollars.
Yeah, the worst thing to have happen to you, especially as you get older, is a big Wall Street crash wipes out your IRA, wipes out your 401k. It takes years to build it back. That's why you got to have some gold so you can get through it. And like we do, like we always said, hey, an ounce An ounce for every year you've been alive, because you can use it to supplement income and all of those things. I don't know if that's going to be enough. I really don't. So what happened? What happened in the bond market again? Well, there's a big conference, Converge Live. It's in Singapore. Ray Dalio was out warning. I'll just use his words because they're better than mine. A significant supply-demand problem exists regarding U.S. debt and will have a profound disruptive impact on the global economy. Now, what is he talking about? We know right now, we're at $36.5 trillion. We don't really know the number, right? They're just not going because, we're in an emergency measure. So we already know, listen, we're already over 37. We also know that if nothing else, they couldn't get the one glorious bill passed. So they did let's just spend at the same levels for the next 6 months. And then hopefully we can do something for 2026. But Dalio was saying the quantity of U.S. debt that the United States has to sell is not what the rest of the world is going to want to buy. Now, we've been talking about this for years. How many years do I keep telling you the foreigners aren't coming? The foreigners aren't coming. The foreigners aren't showing up for the auction tails. All you need to know is tails are bad. We keep having them. He said that this is paramount of importance, and that as the U.S. economy slows, the debt to GDP ratio is going to be so enormous, you're going to see shocking developments in the terms of how it is going to be dealt with. And Jason, this has everybody on edge now. Everyone's back to, what's going to happen here? We have no budget. What is the Senate going to do? If we can't get at least eight, because I know there's one Republican that's a no. We can't get at least 8. Where do we go from here? But Dalio is saying we're out of time. This is, I think, the worst part about this is he's saying, listen, I'm not talking about there's going to be a problem 5 years from now or 10 years from now. He is saying the problem is imminent. And I think it's probably going to be between now and the September when we figure out just how much more debt the United States is going to be in and how big the amount of debt we have to sell. Even Scott Bessent, the Treasury Secretary, says, guys, I got to keep selling all this short-term debt. I can't not do it, which just means the amount of debt that you got to remember, we got to sell $2-3 trillion for the year we're in. But then you got all the debt that rolls over, Jason, on top of it. And that's what Ray Dalio was talking about. It's an avalanche, and he is convinced the rest of the world doesn't want to buy it.
A couple of years ago, in 2022 and 2023, we were talking about the rollover of the debt that was coming for 24, but especially 25, 26, 27, and 28. Tremendous amount rolling over. And you can't blame anyone that's going to have any country or bank or institution that's going to have U.S. Treasuries in their file. You can't blame them for wanting the short-term stuff, Joe, because usually you buy the longer term. You get, it used to be pretty plain and simple, cut and dry. Markets get tough, the rates get cut. If markets are good, the rates go up. But right now, we're here on the air trying to figure out, well, are they going to cut rates? Are they going to do that? Well, wait a minute. Well, if the inflation goes out of control, they're going to raise rates. I think all these financiers are thinking the same thing. It's like, well, it should be doing what all of our big rich friends are telling us, but if things get really crazy in a certain situation, then it's going to go the other way. Who's going to buy long term in that atmosphere? Joe, I wouldn't want to buy a long term anything with what's going on today, especially with these debt auctions you're talking about. It seems like there's just a very tepid, worried feel about what they're buying, and so sure, heavy buying on the short term, Joe. And I don't see how that stops very soon.
Yeah,
they're talking about 50-year treasuries backed by gold, right? How do we get people back to long term? We'll back it by gold, and then we'll tokenize it. And this is where that crypto stuff comes in. And, man, what kind of a world is that going to be where, okay, well, there'll be gold there, but you can't receive the gold. We'll tokenize it. And wherever gold is at, you'll be able to get it. You'll be able to pull your gold with tokens. So not really backed by gold, but like gold. Someone's got some gold sitting there. Buy some 50-year treasuries. We need long-term sold. That seems to be how do we package it, Joe? How do we package it and make it? How do we make something that stinks smell a lot better?
Well, right? We'll be back. 800-951-0592. And again, the trade war, another issue that they see now as going to make it difficult, right? To be selling all of this debt. So today, the EU and Canada threw another $20 billion of U.S. goods with a 25% tariff. The EU likewise did the same after the 25% tariffs on the steel and aluminum. Counter tariff of $28 billion worth of U.S. goods out of the EU. And then we had consumer prices, the CPI today. The headline number, 2.8%. That was a tenth lower. The month over month came in at 0.2. They were expecting 0.3. Like I said, they had a big number fall off on the year over year. The core number 3.1 on the CPI core. Shelter up 0.3. Listen, shelter's going to get more expensive now. You just heard from Bank of America. All of the building material suppliers raising price. That just tells you how much stuff we don't build here, right? We just don't. Right? We just don't do it. Owner equivalent rent, which is the biggest nonsense of all time, it's up 0.3%. Shelter inflation up 4.27% year over year. Rent inflation up over 4%. Medical care increased 0.3%. Month over month. Prescription drugs were unchanged. Used cars and trucks, get ready, up 0.9. I think we're going to see that pattern continue here. The index for new vehicles, this will probably be the last. It was down 0.1. That's probably over. Household furnishings were up 0.4. Personal care was up. Here's what fell. Airline fares. Really? So wait a minute. If I didn't go take a flight somewhere, my inflation really wasn't 2.8%. That's kind of what I'm telling you. Of course, the airlines are all out, right? They've been all out in the last 48 hours, Jason, warning about, hey, people just aren't flying right now, and it's still too expensive.
What isn't expensive, or what is it more expensive than it used to be? It goes on, beyond your basics, your food and shelter, your energy. The next couple of things that become very important is communication and transportation, right? Those are the next things after your basic needs, and transportation, Joe, is just. I did driving jobs for 30 years, pizza delivery for 20 years. I did almost 10 years of a process serving, which is driving all over Colorado and giving people their, hey, by the way, you're being sued. Your accounts are getting vacuumed because you didn't pay your credit card bill. Driving. So I, as efficient as I am, is like, what's the cheapest and best way I can get around? And it was a Toyota Corolla, right? Toyota Corollas are very expensive now. In 2001, I think I bought one brand new off the lot for like $10,000. Brand new stripped down models, like $24,000. Toyota Corolla, the car that most people number one selling
stripped
vehicle.
down, right? That's probably the key, right? Stripped down,
29 to 31,000 if it's got some goodies in it. Toyota Corolla. So that's transportation. Just like the airline prices that Joe's talking about, transportation is way more expensive because, let's face it, everything about the vehicle or the plane that you're on costs a whole lot of money, and then the fuel. We're lucky, I think, that the fuel is this cheap. I have a feeling that we're lucky that the fuel is this cheap. Why do I get the feeling this summer we're looking at $6 a gallon and $7 a gallon gas possibly hitting us? Maybe more if you have one of those oil problems like they had in the 70s.
I hope not. Eggs were up. We know about eggs, up 59%. Beef roast, 9.5%. Coffee, 8.6%. Olive, pickles, relishes, up 8%. Ground beef, up 7.8%. Fish and seafood, up 5.9%. Cupcakes, donuts, up 5.1%. Candy and chewing gum, up 4%. Dried beans, peas, lentils, up 3.8%. Breakfast sausage, up 3.6%.
Is this
apples, up 3.6%.
Month over month, or is this year over year?
These are food at home prices, and I want to say these are year over year. I'm hoping
it makes sense.
I hope so, because that would be outrageous. Food away from home, up 4%. Ready for this? Sporting events, up 12%. Motor vehicle insurance, up 11%. College textbooks, up 10.8%. Vet services, up 8.1%. Motor vehicle repairs, up 8%. Cigarettes, up 7.8%. Jay, I mean, it just doesn't end when we look at what these prices are actually doing, and it's amazing. Despite all of that, the headline, again, seasonally adjusted 2.8. The core was 3.1, but now the biggest driver, according to Goldman now, is going to be U.S. GDP growth downgraded from 2.4% down to 1.7%. So that's significant. And Goldman is saying all the, I guess, risk is that it's going to go even lower, and they're saying that consensus is running well below. And they're saying that all of these companies are going to miss earnings, and they're going to miss earnings by significant amounts, and they expect further pressure on Wall Street, and these tariffs just make it that much harder, right? When these tariffs come into effect, that much harder. And the other, you know what, we haven't even got to this. China called Walmart. Yeah, remember Walmart? Hey, we're going to make the Chinese, they're going to pay for it. We're not paying for it. Apparently, China met, the people in power in China met with Walmart and said, yeah, guess again. You guys are going to pay. Very interesting development that they basically said, hey, it's too big. It's at 20% now, not 10, 20. Apparently there was a big meeting over in China with Walmart. And, you know, it's just, Jason, it's a simple math problem. It costs us this much to get it on your shelf. You got to pay more. Which means what? We're going to pay more. 800-951-0592. Gold's at the highs of the day. Up a dozen, 29.29. Silver Boy, looking really strong here right now. Up 25 cents, $33.15. We've been waiting, and seems like almost forever waiting on silver to get through this 33. I just want to point out the May silver contract. That's what you're going to see on TV. 33.60. And again, as I told you, silver spreads for lease rates exploded today, which is just another sign of these warehouses emptying out. I'm going to throw some pricing at you. Take advantage. I got, when we look at the setup here, it just, every outcome looks good, right? If we cannot get 8 senators on board, 8 Democrats on board, who knows? I don't even want to know what's going to happen. We run out of money Friday. So if that's not done, then the government's got to start laying off. Right? Think about we're firing all these people. Well, it gets a lot more difficult from there. Inflation. Boy, look at what we just heard today. Like I said, they get a couple of reprieves. I think these reprieves are going to be washed away with these tariffs. And then it's going to get worse in the summer. And there's almost no scenario where you don't see, I'll just say it, we're going to have record high silver prices. Yep, we're going to break 50. We're going to do it. Are we going to do it this year or next year? I think that's the only question, really, honestly. And we already got record high gold prices. We're going to get a lot higher. Right now, as an example, rolls of U.S. Silver Eagles. Listen, I'm at $805 on a roll of Silver Eagles. They cost me like $37. Buy a case. Hey, save some money. Right? Be $20,000. But I don't know. That's a lot of money for people. Rolls of dimes, quarters, and half dollars. I'm just telling you now. Rolls of dimes tomorrow. If silver's sitting here tomorrow at $33.15 or higher, they're going to be $135. Today, they're $130 for a roll. Quarters are at $260 a roll. They'll be $270 come tomorrow. Half dollars, $265. You get it. $275, and that's assuming silver doesn't go to 34 or 33.50, right? I mean, yep. That's a big if. $20 gold pieces, $3,070. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. It's the best I can do, guys. I'll take $20 off $3,050 on $20 gold. You just can't do it anymore, right? We talked about. Are we going to get to the point where you're not going to be able to buy gold for $3,000 an ounce? We're here. We are here. And the biggest thing that I've noticed, at least here where the selling has really stopped, right? We were getting a lot of stuff. We were able to get some great deals. Jason, it's kind of stopped now. I think Wall Street crashing, Bitcoin taking it on the chin. All of a sudden now, people are like, wait a minute, gold really is. I mean, think about what Wall Street and Bitcoin are getting hammered, and gold's at $29.30.
Yeah, for a moment last year, silver went to just under 35, a year high of 34.75. It was pushing. But before that and since, it's been hitting 33 and bouncing down, hitting 33 and bouncing down. So we're above 33. If it gets here and stays here tomorrow and it's here Friday, either late Friday it's just going to start moving, or Monday it's going to move, and it's going to move fast. If it breaks above that 34.75 quickly next week, and this could be very quick, this could be next week, it busts past that, it stays in 33, starts to go up, busts past that 34.75, which could happen in 1 week. Then you've got any price on silver I'm just saying that by the end of this month, you get a $40 silver if it just decides to like it above 33. If it just likes above 33, decides to take a peek above $34.75, and suddenly you got $40 silver on April Fool's Day.
I think these lease rates are what I'm really looking at right now. Silver now going the way of gold, which is there's more physical demand than there is product. I mean, it's just that simple here. By the way, I'm looking at this 10-year note, 4.31 now. So big moves in the debt market in the wrong direction. German yields getting ready to crest above 3%. Now you got even British yields at 4.75. Japanese yields over 1.5%. That's huge for them. Kind of funny here, but Jason, I think everybody out there, two things. They're worried about the amount, think about what Europe just committed to, how much money they need to spend. Canada's lowered interest rates today. They're getting ready for a tariff fight. The U.S., we know, whenever it comes, think about the avalanche of debt we're going to have to sell. We've been in emergency measures now for, a month plus? I mean, just craziness. And then, do we get a government shutdown in the next 48 hours? I hope not. But, God, 8 Democrats seems like a lot. I don't know, but it just seems like a lot to get. Because remember, in the Senate, they need 60 votes for this to pass. Patriot Radio News Hour. Final segment on this Wednesday. 800-951-0592. $20 gold. $3,050. By the way, gold's up $12.5 right now. $29.29 and change. It's at the highs here. I'm going to give you a number. $29.43. Close above that. We're going to be once again talking about $3,000. Is this the week? I don't know. I think a lot's going to depend on where we go with tariffs. Can we get 8 Democrats? Is there going to be a government shutdown? Is there not going to be a government shutdown? What are the rating agencies going to do? And then how bad are the debt auctions? We had a really tough one yesterday, sending rates screaming higher today. Ray Dalio warning. It's a math problem, right? Hey, I only need this many treasuries. I don't need any more dollars. I already have enough dollars. But we need to sell more. Well, sorry. How much are you going to pay me to do it, right? That's the fear. And Dalio now saying it is imminent, so please be prepared for that. And again, silver above 33, and Jason's right. One close above 33 won't be enough. But if it's above 33 the rest of this week, look out. And it may not need the rest of this week, but we'll see. It's been here before. The big difference that I think is different now, I'm looking at these lease rates. The lease rates are going through the roof, which tells you that the people that want to buy physical can't do it. They're having a hard time doing it. And I think people are coming to the realization, oh, God, these tariffs are real. And I've seen no exception for silver in any of this. We get 83% of all our silver comes from Canada and Mexico. Rolls of dimes, $1.30. They're going to be $1.35 tomorrow. Quarters, $2.60. Half dollars, $2.65. They're going to be $10 higher tomorrow if we're right where we're at today. 800-951-0592. 800-951-0592. Right now, the Dow is coming back a little bit. It's down 200. That's better. But again, I think it really has to do with the tariffs, the counter tariffs, and Jason. When we're looking at what comes next over these next couple of days. It's going to be an important couple of days. That is for sure. When it comes to, can we get some type of continuing resolution, or are we going to get a government shutdown? And then how do these trade wars play out here? Because it looks like everybody's just ramping up, billions of dollars. Think about it. Between Europe and Canada today, $50 billion worth of U.S. goods just got hit with a 25% tariff. And then China telling Walmart, we're not eating it all. We'll eat some of it. You got to eat the rest of it. And, Jason, that was one thing that they were hoping to avoid.